explanation. We're good, they suck. That's all the explanation you need. They couldn't beat us, so we beat them. Like,
Here's
I'm not going to apologize.
Your team is booty.
A starter was You had a couple starters still in the fourth quarter. I want to win.
Yeah.
Like,
try harder.
Yeah.
Fuck you. If you want a mercy rule, go play baseball.
The coach of the team that lost appealed on his behalf.
Good. At least that guy has some fucking sense.
Yeah.
That's good on him.
Also, like, why are my starters still in the fourth quarter? I don't know, because there's a fucking scout from Alabama in the stands right now. That's why I'm going to keep my starters who have a chance to go D1 in so they can prove to these scouts that they're just going to fucking pound the shit out of everyone that's inferior.
Fuck you, Shannon. It's not my fault that your kid Timmy sucks at football.
Right? Get little Timmy's ass off my team.
Yeah, seriously. Fucking beat it.
Oh my
Scout's
God.
not here to see Timmy.
All right.
Bullshit.
Cincinnati should be ranked higher. Wake Forest, I feel the ACC is super weak. Going undefeated in the ACC is not much. Losing a game to Louisville really fucks you up, in my opinion. Like, Wake Forest's wins are by 3 points over Utah State, by 20 points over Rice, by 6 over North Carolina, by 42 over Elon. Like, if you're going to beat a shit team, an FCS team, do it with style. Like, Penn State hung 79 on Idaho.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, really, like, legitimately beat the shit out of them.
Right.
Like, what did you schedule the game for if you're going to fucking, like, lollygag about it?
Seriously.
Give your balls a tug.
Then Wake Forest beat Boston College 27-24. And then Louisville beat Wake Forest 62-59. They beat Florida State 22-20, and then they beat NC State 44-10. I'm not impressed by much.
Nope.
No.
Because it's not impressive. It's just not impressive. The fact that they're lucky to be even considered fucking where they are.
Iowa, I could see them. They're at 18. I could see them being 22-ish because they are 6-2. And I could also see them being 15-ish because, again, Big Ten. Their losses came to Michigan and the number 4 team in the nation. Okay, I could see the arguments, but I think I don't have a problem with them at 18. Minnesota at 17 should be higher. We discussed Kansas State. I don't even know if I'd have K-State ranked if we're being honest.
Yeah, K-State is another one of those teams. Like where Oklahoma State is, Oklahoma State should be removed and K-State should be there.
Yeah,
and then move everybody up for fuck's sake.
So Kansas State's wins 49-14 over Nichols. Like again, like you hang 52-0 on Bowling Green, and allow Nichols State to fucking score 14 on you.
Hey, they're a very proud program.
Well, I'm sure they are. Better than that Pennies. Pennies Tech or whatever. That was a stupid joke. I'm sorry.
I don't follow that reference.
Nichols, Pennies.
Oh, now I get it. Oh, bad pun is bad.
K-State beat Mississippi State 31-24. Was that the game that the Mississippi State quarterback got helicoptered?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. And then they lost to Oklahoma State. And then they lost to Baylor. Then they beat TCU. The big upset over Oklahoma. And then did what everyone and their fucking mother does and smack Kansas around. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pretty sure Gloversville Huskies could give Kansas a hard time.
Maybe.
It's a shout out to you, Gloversville.
I can tell you that the UConn Huskies probably can.
No. They are bad.
Not very good.
All right. Let's move on to number 15, Notre Dame.
Boo.
They should be in the 20 to 25 range, if ranked at all.
They should be in the FCS.
14, you have Michigan. At 13, you have Wisconsin. At 12, you have Baylor. And 11, you have Auburn. Auburn.
I'm mostly okay with that.
Baylor, I think Baylor could be a little bit higher. They are undefeated in the Big 12, but
Yeah, but it's still the Big 12 at the end of the day. I mean, I guess
they haven't played Oklahoma.
Yeah, I guess I could see the argument that Baylor could, because they, like you said, they are undefeated, whether or not that's against shit or otherwise. But Notre Dame's the big problem I have there. Stop giving them fucking appreciation because they're fucking Notre Dame. No, this isn't the fucking dawn of TV rights. You don't need to blow them that much.
Right. And Baylor's tough part of their schedule is coming up. They've got TCU in Texas on Saturday.
You mean they're going to actually have to play people now?
Then Oklahoma, then Texas, and then they get a little bit of a reprieve with Kansas to end the season.
Well,
and then most likely they'll have to play Oklahoma again in the Big 12 championship. Because the Big 12 actually kind of does it right. Every team plays each other, and the two best teams play in the championship.
Yeah, but their advantage to being able to do it right is because nobody wants to play in that fucking conference.
Yeah, it's a joke.
And deservingly so. It should not be taken seriously.
All right. For the most part, 11 through 15, with the exception of Notre Dame, I'm good with.
Yeah, I don't have much qualms with the other one, so I really can't.
I mean, maybe Michigan should be a little bit lower.
Yeah, but
Wisconsin
they're actually playing much better. Wisconsin, that was a really bad loss for them. Yeah. And
then to get blown the fuck out.
And then they got shellacked by Ohio State, that was the game they were looking forward to, and it didn't even work out for you.
All right, we're going to change up our format just a little bit. Because we're going to do exactly what...
I feel Oregon could swap with Georgia.
What was that?
Oregon could swap with Georgia.
We'll get to it. We're going to that right now. We're going to do 10 through 7, and then we'll talk about the top 6. 10 is Florida, 9 is Oklahoma, 8 is Utah, 7 is Oregon.
Fuck Florida.
Florida, seriously. I feel like you should swap Florida and Auburn. I think Auburn, between the two, deserves to be a top 10 team more. Florida did beat Auburn, but I feel like Auburn has shown more.
I feel like they just feel inclined to they're oh, we gotta make sure that the state of Florida is represented. We don't want all those angry fucking handwritten letters.
Handwritten letters. Guys, stop picking on their teachers. Come on.
Never.
If you want me to do that, rank higher in education. I'm looking at you, Alabama.
All right. Florida at 10. I don't like Florida being there.
They let Kentucky hang with them, too. So
yeah. Yes. And wasn't Kentucky starting a linebacker at quarterback?
Probably.
Maybe not.
That sounds about right.
Oklahoma.
If not, let's just make it a rumor that we start.
Oklahoma at 9. I mean,
no.
I don't have a problem with Oklahoma at 9. My gut tells me they should be a little bit higher because their one loss was kind of fluky to Kansas State. But I'm fine with where they are. Utah, Dan O'Shea, sorry, I think Utah should be ahead of Oregon. I've been much more impressed with Utah than I have been with Oregon.
I actually don't mind this placement because here's the thing when it comes to these two. This is going to figure itself out anyway.
Exactly.
Because they'll play each other.
That's what I was about to say, is it really doesn't matter because we'll know in no time.
Yeah, I feel like that placement was a 100% cop-out by the committee because they were like, fuck it, put them close together. They'll play each other anyway. We won't even have to worry about it.
The entire top fucking 10 is that.
No, that does not apply to Clemson.
You're right.
You're right. Close, but Clemson does not get to have that distinction because they played shit.
Yep. Anyways, Oregon, Utah, mostly interchangeable. Oklahoma, I'm okay with at 9. Florida, I think, I don't know. Put Baylor in the top 10. Fuck it. They're undefeated. Put Baylor in the top 10. Drop Florida and Auburn.
I wouldn't be upset with that, mainly because of the fact that fucking Baylor's going to have to put up or shut up anyway.
Yeah, TCU is not a slouch. They beat Texas. They beat a ranked Texas team. At the time, was a good a good victory. Texas no longer ranked. I thought they were back. Well, apparently they're not.
No, I still think that it's gonna take some time. I mean, I think that we've seen Texas making strides in the right direction for the first time in a very long time, but they're still not there yet.
I think what we're seeing, and feel free to disagree with me, we're seeing the same thing we've been seeing a lot lately in the NFL. Great coordinators don't necessarily make good head coaches. And I'm not willing to write him off yet, but Tom Herman might just be a great coordinator and not a very good head coach. I mean, and there's no shame in being a great coordinator.
No, there's not. You're right. You might be right, but time will tell. I mean, he's not looking so great right now.
All right, top 6. So first, before we go through the top 6, I want to talk about my expectations for what it was going to be.
Okay.
I fully expected and was hoping it wasn't, but I was expecting the committee to hedge their bets on the Big Ten and put Penn State at 6.
Okay.
Because if Penn State loses to Ohio State, well, then they didn't belong anyways, whatever. If Penn State beats Ohio State's going to drop. Penn State can move in because Alabama and LSU play each other. If Penn State beats Ohio State, they deserve to be in the top 4, and they'll get there, is the thinking.
I mean, that's a logical way to do it.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting at 6 Penn State, at 5 Georgia, at 4 Clemson. 3 would be Alabama. I didn't know what they were going to do with LSU, Ohio State. My head, some weeks, Ohio State looks like they are possibly the best college football team I've ever seen. Others, they look like they're just a great football team. And I don't know, because I get the same feeling about some weeks they're just a great football team. Maybe the best team this year. I get that about LSU as well sometimes. So like I have a hard time saying that I think either one should be ranked ahead of the other, but I understand and I'm okay with either of them being at 1, the other being at 2.
Okay. So my thought process is, to be honest, strength of schedule in wins that they've won so far, LSU should have been the number 1 ranked team at this point in the season. Now, that being said, Ohio State's schedule gets increasingly harder, and the argument can then be made that, well, maybe Ohio State should be the number 1 team in the country once the regular season is concluded. That being said, I don't think that the College Football Committee put too much thought into it, because I think they viewed it as, well, it doesn't really matter.
Because 2 of these teams are going to knock the other 2 out.
Both of them are great teams, and if we prioritizing one over the other doesn't really matter, because ideally these 2 may have to meet at the end of the year anyway, in some fashion.
If we're being completely honest, I don't have a problem with 2 one-loss teams getting into the college football playoff if Clemson is still undefeated, if Clemson looks bad in their upcoming games. If Penn State, Ohio State, both teams, it's like a double overtime, 1 team wins, and Ohio State, let's say they win, they're the number 1 team in the nation, Penn State's number 3. If they don't fall beyond 4, I don't think that's wrong.
I don't think so either. I mean, that really also depends a lot on how other things break down and actually play out. But, I mean, it's certainly feasible.
I would be perfectly understanding if at the end of the season we get number 1 is Ohio State, number 2 is LSU, number 3 is Alabama, number 4 is Penn State. If it ends up the same way it is now, I would be they probably made the right decision. Is what